Welcome, everybody, to September. I can't believe that school is starting, at least here in the US, and all of us are into fall. Orlando, it's still super hot, so does not feel like fall around here. But this month, we're going to be addressing what your gymnasts are facing, which is gym life balance. This is when they're getting into school. It feels really exhausting. They're trying to figure out, their school schedule. One of the things I always tell people whenever they start something new is like the first month is horrible. No matter what, just your body adjusting, your brain adjusting. And so this month tends to be really difficult for them. And so we really like to take the opportunity to use this time to help them figure out how to create good habits for gym life balance. Allie, how have you seen this play out with gymnasts that you've coached?
Well, in a lot of ways. I think that I have seen this just in the gym to start a lot, where once you start figuring out how to manage your time between gym and school, you can manage your time in the gym better. And as the girls actually get older and can make more decisions about how their body feels and like how they're doing and where they're behind at and like are in those places, they feel more empowered to be able to manage their time in the gym and communicate with you as the coach and work with you as the coach to come up with really good decisions on what they're doing. So I just like to point that out because I do think like this is about gym life balance too, but I also want to point out that I think that just learning this tool helps them even have more productive time in the gym because they can manage their time there as well. So I see that a lot. And then otherwise, I just see more energy. I see a lot more energy in the gym, a lot more focus in the gym once they start having the success of figuring out sleeping and eating and being able to make time to like be with their friends and have some fun so that when they're in the gym, they are in the gym and they're focused and have that kind of energy. So
Yeah.
I think it's a cool tool.
Yeah. So what Allie's referring to is inside our program, we go really deep in the month of September and teaching them how to manage their time. I am a time management geek. I teach entrepreneurs how to manage their time. I've helped teach high-level executives and worked with a lot of high-level executives on time management. And so I really wanted to bring that in because the reason I got started with that was because I was a gymnastics coach. And my sweet young girls started high school and they were like, I can't, I'm going to have to quit. I can't do gymnastics, and they're freaking out. And so I was like, well, let me just show you how I manage my time. I was a college student. And so I showed them, and I still have like one of my gymnasts who's like works on Capitol Hill now, like has emailed me numerous times. Like I still use the method that you taught me when I was in high school to manage my time and accomplish all the things. So that's what we do inside our program is we go deep to teach them how to manage their time. Now, as a gymnastics coach, you have so much else to teach them. Going deep into teaching them how to manage their time is probably not going to be your main focus and how you spend your time. So, I wanted to talk we wanted to kind of make this really practical for you, but also give you some ideas of like why we do it and how we do it. And one of the things for you as the gymnastics coach in being motivated to help them learn how to manage their time is this. A high-level gymnast especially, like, I mean, I have worked with very high-level, corporate leaders whose schedule, honestly, is about similar to a high-level elite gym or not elite gymnast, but high-level gymnast. Like, high-level gymnast schedule is crazy. It is almost impossible to do, especially if they're going to public school and then coming into the gym and then they're in the gym for a lot of hours. And then you add the kids who have to drive far to get to the gym every day. Like they're not making it up. Like it is very difficult. And so helping them learn how to do it, like how else are they going to learn? No one else is teaching them this. They're not learning this in school. Even their parents probably don't have a schedule that is as busy as the gymnast. So even their parents aren't probably like equipped with the time management skills to help them. And so this is something they got to learn somewhere. But the reason it's helpful for you if they learn it is a little bit like Allie was saying that, but so much about energy in the gym. We have a lot of kids that we coach on mindset that when it comes down to it, sometimes it's not a mindset problem. They're not getting enough sleep. They're not getting enough fuel. And they cannot then do the things that they're doing. And their brain is freaking out because their brain knows that they don't have enough energy to do the thing that is trying to be required of them. So helping them learn how to manage their time so that they can get enough sleep, so that they can get enough to eat. A lot of fueling problems, there are definitely disordered eating fueling problems out there, but a lot of them is they just don't have the time to prep their food, plan their food, get the grocery shopping. And some of them don't have parents that do that for them, or some of them have parents, but they're like, I don't know what you need. So trying to help them learn to manage all of that is going to be really helpful to have them have enough energy when they're in the gym to actually do the things that you want. And this problem is one of the biggest reasons that gymnasts quit. They just don't, they start getting into high school and gymnastics is getting harder for them. Life is getting harder for them. And they just are like, I can't do it all. And so then this is often when they quit. And so learning how to help them is also going to help your retention rates as a gym program. So that is kind of some of it. So we wanted to start with one of the basic principles that we teach them, which is the idea of making decisions ahead of time. And this works in so many different areas, but it's especially important in trying to manage your time. So Allie, you want to talk about making decisions ahead of time?
I do. But I still want to throw in one more thing before I get like really into the grind of that. Stacie went through a lot of stuff of what we expect our teenage gymnasts to do, which is plan food ahead of time and to make sure that they have what they need and like all these concepts. And like, how many of you even do that for yourself? Not like we're asking these.
Like literally, I was late to record this because I was trying to plan out my food for the week. I'm trying to like do really good of following what I say. I was planning my time. I was planning my food, and like I didn't finish. And I don't have a full-time gymnastics job on top of a full-time job. So.
Yeah, like, and that's why I just like before I go into like planning things ahead of time, I just wanted to like just sometimes realize that we're like expecting these teenage girls to do things that adults even struggle to do. And that the reason that we're teaching them is because they do need to learn how to do it. They don't magically just have that ability. And when they do, it's typically because it's role modeled to them in a certain way, whether it's from you or their parent or whatever it is. But I just wanted to like, just give that general concept of like, these are like adult concepts that we're helping these teenage girls figure out because they need to at an early age in order to be able to have the gymnastics life balance that they're looking for.
And even most of their peers that are in sports don't have to figure it out to the level that they do. Like this is a pretty unique thing for either a gymnast or an elite level athlete of another sport. Like they're not looking around and seeing their peers have to like figure out how to do this. So it's a big ask.
Okay. So doing things or planning ahead of time. So, our brain likes to, thinks that it likes to do things on a whim. It likes to, have like this experience of being able to live life in this, oh, I'll make this decision when that time comes, or I want to do a spontaneous trip, the spontaneity. Like we think that if we plan everything out in our lives ahead of time, that we'll have no spontaneity and then our life is going to be dull and boring. And that is just like the exact opposite of the reality, because if we can plan things ahead of time and follow through with what we plan ahead of time, then we have chunks of time where we can almost do whatever we want without all the drama of like, oh my gosh, I still have to do this. I still have to do this. I still have to do this. So the idea behind this is being able to plan things ahead of time so that one, you know exactly that you're going to get done what you want to be getting done, when you're going to be getting it done. So when you are having your free time, you can be like, okay, I know that I'm going to get my groceries shopped on Tuesday at 11 o'clock. So no big deal. I don't have to worry about that. I can actually just enjoy being here with my family and playing some games, or I can just enjoy being at practice and working on getting my skills, whatever it is. And so when we plan things ahead of time, and then we actually follow through with what we plan ahead of time, that's going to be the key to the success of all of it, because we can plan a lot of things and not do them, right? And then that completely defeats the purpose. But if we can plan something ahead of time, follow through with what we plan ahead of time, then in our actual free time, plan time, we can stay focused on what we're actually wanting to do in that time. We can enjoy our free moments. We can do whatever we want to do and trust ourselves and know that we're going to follow through with our plan for the future.
Yeah.
And so, Stacie, why does our brain kind of like work like this? Like we have this, I gave the general concept of where we're going with this, but Stacie, this is
I'll
like
geek out in the science here.
I know, it's her favorite.
So here's the thing. Our prefrontal cortex is the evolved human part of our brain, and it is the part of our brain that can plan. Our primary brain that runs 95% of the day is not able to look at the past or the future. It only is able to be in the present. And so when you engage in planning, you have to use your prefrontal cortex. You can't you can't be running from your primary brain. And your prefrontal cortex, part of your brain, is the part of your brain that actually cares about the bigger ideas, like your goals and your, the long-term vision of your life and the things that you want to accomplish. Your primary brain cares about one thing and one thing only, and that is your survival. And the important things that it thinks for your survival is that it needs to keep you safe. It needs to use as little energy as possible, and it needs to do what feels good in the moment. Those are the three things your primary brain cares about. So when you're trying to do difficult things, your primary brain doesn't care about doing the difficult things. It doesn't care about reaching your goals. It doesn't care about managing your time. It doesn't care about getting your homework done ahead of time. It wants to do what feels good in the moment and what it thinks will keep you the safest while using the least amount of energy. Not great for time management or any other goals that we're trying to do. And so when you plan ahead of time is when you can actually use the part of your brain that will care about that. Now, here's the thing. That part of your brain is a little bit idealistic. It's going to want to plan a perfect day where nothing goes wrong and everything's great. So we kind of have to balance between that. So we teach about planning ahead of time, but planning ahead of time something that is doable. So you make the plan and then you go back and you look and you go, is that actually doable? So what does this look like? In our program, we go really deep. We literally have them make a plan we have them do block planning where they're like, this is when I'm in school, this is when I'm, at the gym, and then this is when I actually have free time. And I'm telling you, some of those kids literally have almost none, especially once we hit meet season. Because a lot of times they have a lot of free time on the weekend to catch up on everything, but then we hit meet season and then that goes away too. And then they're really, it really is difficult. But so we have them do block planning. And then we're like, okay, now the first week, we're just plan ahead of time. When are you going to do your homework? When are you going to prep meals or make sure you have food, or when are you going to eat? What time are you going to get to bed to get enough sleep? And then when are you going to do some fun things outside of the gym? And so we just kind of have them block plan that out. You can go that far if you want to, or you can send them to us. We have recently made a change where we are opening up our group membership program all the time, so they can join at any time. And they can join us for the month of September and just learn how to do all this time management stuff. And maybe that's all they need with us. But we can teach them more in depth, or you can send them to our Instagram, which will also be a little bit helpful in doing some of this. But just for you in the gym, just telling them okay, make a plan ahead of time. And I actually did this recently with one of the gymnasts that I coach privately. We were actually trying to figure out, we were making a plan of when she was going to get her skills moved up by, and so we just worked backwards, and she kept putting on her plan all the either this or this. Maybe I'll remove a mat, or maybe I'll wait till next week. And again, I was like, If you wait till you're in the moment, you're going to be deciding by your primary brain. And your primary brain is going to want to do what feels safe and easy. So you just need to decide ahead of time. Does it feel more doable to do what's safe and easy? Or is that going to get you where you want to go by when you want to be there? And she's like, okay, yeah, I'll remove the mat, And so it's the same kind of thing. When you're teaching them the concepts, you can use it in both places. You can use it in planning ahead of time towards like working towards their skills and moving their skills either up or, more to competition mats or those kinds of things. So they can use this in the gym, like planning ahead of time what they're going to do instead of trying to plan in the moment what they're going to do, but then also using this for planning out when they're going to do their homework, when they're going to go to bed, when they're going to do some fun things. So we're going to go more in depth into the rest of it, to each one of those things, having fun, doing homework, and health, sleep, and food over the rest of this month. So the first concept is just figuring out how to plan ahead of time. And then for our littlers, but honestly, I even like to do it for myself. So rewards for actually following through. So Allie talked about planning ahead of time is nice, but it doesn't do you a lot of good when you don't follow through. Our brain loves rewards. So Allie, you want to tell them about our little jar?
Well, yeah. So if you do this like block plan with your gymnast, you are out of your mind if you think they're going to look at this plan and then just follow it 100% right away and be like, oh, look, I planned what I'm going to do my homework. I have to do my homework now and then do it. That might last for like a day or two because they're like really type A and like to do exactly what things say, but their brain is going to be battling them. But like, why would we do that when we could scroll on Instagram or watch Netflix or eat chips as a snack instead of making a meal or whatever it is that happens? Your brain is trying to do what's easy and safe and all the things, right? So it's going to be battling you on this. And we like to reward our brain for actually following through with the plan because that's going to encourage it to continue to do that in the future. So we like shiny things, objects. So we like to get an I did it anyway jar. And for you as a coach, you can have the girls do it individually, or like every time they have something on their calendar and they actually follow through with it, they can put a gem or like the shiny rocks, or like there's all sorts of different options into this little jar. In the gym, you can get one jar for the entire team. And I think this is super fun because it's kind of a team building activity. It can encourage everybody to be doing something. We're going to give you different topics over the next weeks of like homework and health and fun and that kind of stuff. And so you can like base your little gems that each girl gets to put into this jar based on the topic of the week. And it could be skill related. Like I was afraid of the skill and I did it anyway. Okay. So there's lots of different ways where you can use this. Oh, Coach Stacie has some good examples of her jars here.
So if you're watching this on YouTube instead of podcast, so this is what it looks like. I've just got a little jar and then these like really shiny glass beads. Why shiny, Allie?
Our brain loves shiny objects, loves rewards. It is all about it. It seriously, just a little gem is like shiny enough. I mean, who doesn't, right? Especially us as coaches and gymnasts. I mean, think of our shiny, beautiful leotards. Like we love that. And our brain gets a shiny object. It's like, okay, so we're planned to do homework. And then they're like, well, I don't want to do it yet. I want to watch this one Netflix episode before I blah, 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 blah. And then like kind of like taking this deep breath and being like, okay, I'm going to do my homework because if I get my homework done, then I can watch the Netflix episode and not think about how I have to do my homework the entire time. Right. And so then they get themselves to actually do their homework first. And then they get to put this shiny object in the jar. And their brain is like, oh my gosh, I got a shiny object for doing this. And then it wants more. It wants to continue doing that. And it wants more and more and more. So then the next time you go to do your homework and your brain doesn't want to, it's like, oh, remember when I got that shiny object because I did that? And then the brain is like, yeah. And then it keeps doing it. And so that's a real thing. It seriously could be a gem. It could be quarters. It could be anything that you want. And then being able to do that as an entire team creates like this team building exercise where like you're cheering for people, they're putting stuff into the jar. They're able to, once you fill it up, then the whole team gets a pizza party or however you want to do it. It's a really, really fun way to encourage them to follow through with what they say they're going to do, to give their brain rewards for following through. So they want to keep doing that in the future, and then to do it as a whole team so you can like have the camaraderie of doing that together. And so I highly encourage to do one as a team or encourage somebody who's really struggling to have one at home. And I encourage you as a coach to try it because you'll experience, I have one, Stacie has one, and we've done it with weight loss. We've done it with all sorts of different things where you're like, oh, like you wanted to eat that Oreo, but you didn't. Shiny object.
Yeah. And so where it's like where you have something that you're trying to do in order to reach your goal, but it's not something that, it's something that your primary brain's going to be like, that's too hard. That's too much energy. That's not safe. That doesn't feel good. Anytime you do it, you get a little gem. And then once you've filled up to 100 gems, that can usually by then has made it into a habit. Okay. So let's make this really practical. Summarize. If you want to work on time management with your gymnasts, what you can do is just print out a calendar for the next week, and then have them just block, like literally write squares around their times and their blocks. And I'll try to link a calendar in here to the show notes. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get a calendar linked into the show notes that you can use, but you just print it out and have them like block in their times. And then what I would do is like get a bunch of the gems and they can each take a few and they just get to keep track each day of how many gems they're going to get to put in when they follow the thing that they didn't want to do, and maybe make one thing. Maybe it's getting to bed on time. Maybe it's getting their homework done, and make that thing. The secondary part though is if that all sounds like too much, which I honestly do kind of think this is like, we try not to be like, we're going to teach you these mindset things, but then send your kids to us because you can't really carry it out. We try to give you practical things you can do without us. But this is one of those things that I think sending them to somebody else to teach and learn and help them with is probably a good use of your time in the gym when we're in the middle of like trying to get those final skills to get routine ready. So send them to us. I will put the link in the bottom, and we are teaching them this all month long in our gold group program. So we will see you next week where we talk about how to have fun in gym life balance. Bye.
Bye.